cost you over time, you have a better sense of what you really need and what you don't need. Always, when you're considering making a large purchase, figure out what that purchase costs you, what that purchase is going to cost you by paying for it in credit, how long you plan to use that purchase. Divide that all. It should be able to tell you what that purchase will cost you every single day. If you're paying more than $10 a day to have a computer, you're probably buying too many computers. Another good strategy, especially in big ticket items like this, don't buy the newest, latest bleeding edge model. Buy the next best one the day the newer model comes out. You will always save money, and there's very, very rarely any reason that you're going to need the next biggest thing on the bleeding edge. Also, take care of your stuff. Get oil changes every 2,000 miles. Have your car looked at by a mechanic. Do the things that your lease, if you lease a car, takes care of. Don't kick your computer. Buy a case for your laptop. If you can't handle a laptop, buy a Toughbook that doesn't break. Hackers don't like to take care, and actually the funny thing is, Americans in general don't like to take care of their things. So if it costs more than $500, take care of it. It will last longer and you won't need to replace it as soon. Also, don't be a tech addict. There are many, many more kinds of addictions aside from addictions to drugs and alcohol. Hackers are addicted to buying tech. They just need it. They need that last little thing. If you are one of those people, get help. I'm not being facetious. I'm absolutely serious to you. That's probably an addiction profile, and you need to go to a group counseling session or seek professional help to do it. Make lenders compete for your business. If you can get a 0% interest rate balance transfer credit card and you have balances on your credit cards, get the balance transfer card and transfer all of your balances to it. For most people, there's really no reason to be even paying credit card interest. There are so many options out there, and granted, while they've been reducing over the past couple of years as the credit industry is consolidating and calling in their loans a little bit more, if you can get a 0% interest rate credit card for a fixed amount of time, get it and transfer your balances to it. Even if you end up paying a transaction fee, depending on what the balance is, it comes out to a marginal interest rate expense, which you should also calculate as a part of your financial plan. But I know people who always have $4,000 of credit card balance out there somewhere. And for a decade, they've paid 0% interest on it, because as soon as that 0% introductory interest rate expires, they go out and get a new card and transfer the balance to it. And half the time, when a lending institution sees that you're balance transferring a credit card, they'll say, oh, well, we can extend the introductory rate on the card we just gave you for another 6 months or another year, because we don't want you to close this credit card as soon as you balance transfer the balance out. Another thing that people don't realize, store credit. Now, a warning about store credit, that's credit that you get when they say, oh, hey, if you open a Best Buy account today or if you open a Brooks Brothers account today, we'll give you 10% off your purchase. More often than not, these are a good deal because they usually give you a longer grace period to pay purchases. There's most credit cards out there, the ones that you should be using, give you a 30-day grace period on new purchases, which means they're not charging you interest on whatever it is that you bought for 30 days. If you have a credit card that's charging you interest the moment that the transaction clears, tear it up and get a new credit card. There's no reason you should be using credit instruments that don't have some kind of grace period on them. And the warning about store credit is that sometimes it's a good deal, sometimes it's a really bad deal. Know what the grace period is. Know what the interest percentage is on it. You shouldn't really ever be paying interest on a store account unless you absolutely needed to buy it and it's for a legitimate business reason. Always figure out what the interest rate is. The interest rate should always be in bold print in the largest font size that's not a headline on the sheet of paper. It should always be there. If it's not there, if you can't see it on the piece of paper that you're signing to open the account, don't open the account because it's a scam. And if store credit gives you, more than a 30-day grace period and the interest rate is, anywhere between 12 and maybe 17% on the outside, it's usually a good deal. If the grace period on balances is less than 30 days or doesn't exist, and the interest rate is more than 17%, it's a bad deal. Dell, I'm going to call out Dell on this one. Dell Financial Solutions, which is the credit arm that's separate from Dell. When you go buy a Dell computer, they say, oh, put it on a Dell credit card and we'll give you a certain % off. 8 out of the 10 times that I see this, it's a ripoff because they're charging you 23 to 25%, and they start charging the day that you buy the item. Don't do that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, find somebody who does, and they'll explain it to you. Also, it doesn't matter what it is, unless it's an American Express Black card or an American Express Platinum card, you should never pay an annual fee. And the only reason, does anyone in here know what an American Express Black card is? Oh, wow, okay, cool. For those of you who don't know, an American Express Black card is a very, very special kind of credit card that American Express will generally only offer to people who are millionaires or who have had a very, very long, good track record with an American Express Gold or Platinum card. It is the only credit card, only major credit card, that you can transfer to somebody else by making a phone call. It's the only credit card that really does not have a preset spending limit. If you have an American Express Black card, you can buy a jet airplane. I'm not kidding you, because there are Saudi sheiks who have bought jet airplanes from, what's up? Okay, there are Saudi sheiks who have bought jet airplanes on an American Express Black card. Seth, did you have a question?
Isn't it not a credit card but a charge card?
Hmm?
Isn't it not a credit card but a charge card?
Actually, that depends on the agreement that you sign with American Express.
Really?
Because
Okay.
every American Express Black card, for the most part, is an individually negotiated financial transaction, financial instrument. That's why, yes, it's not even a traditional credit card. But, and Seth raises a good point. There are two kinds of cards out there: charge cards, which basically charge you interest for the outstanding balance, and credit cards offer you a line of credit, and they say you can have a credit line of such and such an amount. A charge card means in 30 days you will pay us the money, or we take you to court. That's the two differences between a charge card and a credit card. But you don't really see charge cards out there too much because it's so much better for the financial institutions to just milk you for that interest over and over and over again. About annual fees. I have 2 Capital One credit cards. Capital One is notorious for charging really bad annual fees on their cards. I've had these 2 Capital One cards for 5 years. I have never paid an annual fee on them because every year when that annual fee charge shows up, I call them and I say, cancel my Capital One credit card, or cancel my Capital One credit card. And they ask, well, why? And I say, I don't like the annual fee. Oh, well, we'll waive the annual fee if you keep us as a customer. Okay, great, thank you, bye. I'm serious, it's that easy. It's actually automated now. They actually say that like option 1 or 2 is like, are you calling to cancel your Capital One credit card because you don't like the annual fee, press 1. Beep. Well, we're going to waive the annual fee on your credit card. I'm absolutely serious. Most credit cards work like this. How much time do I have? 30? So I'm half done? Okay. Yeah, just yell it out because I might not be looking right at you. Also, now this depends on your individual credit history, of course, but you should never pay more than 15% annual interest on your credit cards. That's just generally a rule of thumb. If nobody out there will offer you a credit card at 15%, now that, okay, 15.99% or less, you can't use credit cards, you don't know how to use them, you don't have a good enough credit history, do something else. Pay off your credit balances. Now, a lot of people say, oh, credit cards are a bad thing, credit cards are so awful, yada, yada. No, a credit card is a tool like anything else. A hammer can be used to pound a nail into a board, a hammer can be used to bash somebody's skull in. Credit cards are exactly the same thing. They're a tool. There's some people who don't know how to use the tools. If you don't know how to use the tool, don't use it. Do something else. If you can't keep your balances to half of what your credit line is, which basically means if you have a $2,000 credit limit and your average annual balance is more than $1,000, you are probably a credit addict and you need to stop using credit cards. This is the general rule of thumb. And also, if you're looking to buy a house sometime in the next 5 years, because of the way credit scoring works, you should usually be at or around half of what your balance is on all your financial instruments, because that will give you generally a better credit score and thus a lower mortgage interest rate. But The way credit scores are calculated is a patented algorithm that nobody knows, and people have been trying to hack for many, many years. And every time they think they've got it just hacked, Fair Isaac goes out and changes the formula based on information that they've accumulated from all of the millions and millions of credit card consumers and getting better data, and they have to start the whole process of hacking what a credit score means all over again. But that's generally a good rule of thumb if you're looking to buy a house. Also, if you have points, rewards programs, different things like that, and you have the available money, use your credit card to buy it. If you can pay for your car in cash and you fly a lot or you want a vacation and you can possibly put that car on a points credit card, put the car on a points credit card and pay off the car 28 days after the charge, because they will give you the points and you might get a free vacation for buying a car. Also, this is the one thing that gets everybody. Unless you can explain your benefits, compensation, and insurance package better than the HR person, and you know that, go see your HR person and talk about it. Most people that offer a benefits package will keep you on the clock for you going to HR and talking about it, so there's really no excuse not to go to talk to HR and understand what everything of your compensation package is. Know your insurance needs. Hackers generally always overinsure their cars or pay too much money for car insurance. Don't trust the ads. Even though they say, oh, well, we'll give you quotes from 2 other people that offer car insurance, and if they're less, no. Go to every single website that's out there when you're buying car insurance. Figure out, and that's the thing, there's no consistent pattern for car insurance. There's nobody that's consistently the cheapest. Progressive and Geico are maybe 25% of the time, depending on what a given circumstance is, are the cheapest, but car insurance is another complicated thing, just like credit scoring. Go out there, talk to State Farm, talk to AAA, call these people. Even if you spend 5-6 hours, unless you're making $40 an hour, you will make money in the end on the transaction on your car insurance. Every time your car insurance comes up for renewal, go price it out somewhere else. Know your available options. One of the things, hackers who are poor and broke and unemployed generally hate taking unemployment because they think it's welfare, and I don't need support from the state. If your unemployment insurance, you pay for that. They take it out of your check wherever you work. You paid for it. If you're broke and unemployed and were laid off, go get unemployment insurance. Even if you get a job 2 weeks later, you'll still get that check that you are paying for every single time you get paid. It's just a good way to get it back. There's no reason not to take unemployment if you're eligible for it. Medicare. If you're not making that much money and are eligible for Medicare, take it. If you're eligible for SSA benefits, take them. It is not a bad thing, because if you have ever worked a day in your life, you have put money into these government programs. You should take that back out while you still can. All right? Social Security that's coming out of your check every single week, there's no guarantee you're going to get that when you retire. You're probably going to get a lot less. If you can take a government program and you have worked a day in your life, take the government program. If you've never worked a day in your life and you're on government programs and you're not severely disabled, either mentally or physically, I was almost going to use a swear word there. You are a worthless human being. And this deserves its own slide. If you don't take away anything else from this presentation, always, always, always max out your matching retirement contribution. This is free money. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, most employers that offer a benefits package will offer a 401k, a retirement account. And they'll say, well, if you take $10, $20, $100 out of your check and put it towards the retirement account, we will match that. Always max out that contribution, because it's free money and most of you aren't taking it. Take the free money. Take the free money. Take the free money. Always match out your matching retirement contribution, because it's free money, and and another thing is it's earning interest. It's earning returns from the day you put it in there. Always max out this contribution. Also, another thing that hackers are notoriously bad at, getting paid what they deserve. Hackers are usually pwned by their managers the day that salary negotiation comes up.